Hello, am I live? Yeah. Hi guys. How's your Thursday going? Oh, just a second. My live chat was dead. Okay. So, let me just set up my live chat. So, how is it going, guys? Hello, Daniel. Hello, Terrell. So, today we are going to talk about modules and why they're useful and what are they at all. So, there is a giant problem with global scope because the global scope is really unreliable. You can easily overwrite a variable, or you can define like 2 times the same constant in different files and get an error and so on. And global scope is not really useful for putting their data like we did in Pokemon exercise this weekend. So have you all finished the task? If somebody did or need some help, you can get me on Slack or now in chat. So let's talk a little bit about modules. So okay, today it's only just a two-parter. First, we are going to talk about ES6 modules and then bundle with parcel. So what mean ES is actually ECMAScript. So the problem, JavaScript is actually copyrighted. It's held still by Oracle, I think. So the people who are working on JavaScript actually call developing JavaScript, like new versions of JavaScript, they're calling it ECMAScript. So when you see ES6, it actually means JavaScript version 6. So at this moment, on most browsers, the ECMAScript 6 is live with all features. So ECMAScript 6 brought us modules. And after that, we're talking bundling with parcel. So parcel is a bundler. It's really easy to set up, and it actually bundles your code so you can deploy it in production without any problem. And also it gives you some great perks while working on your development environment. So, okay. So let's talk about ES6 modules. So last time, I think Toril asked me, so how can we get something from a script called data.js into our script called script.js? So we can do it easily by just including it all in a HTML file. But the problem is, if you want some variable to be used in script.js from data.js, you need to save it in the global. The other thing is when you have you can override some vars or functions with this way of putting it in the global. And also you need to keep the import in order. And if you have bigger solutions have about, I don't know, it could go up to 80 solutions, 80 scripts, different scripts. So while we're working back in 2012, we had 100 scripts included in there. They were bundled when they went into production, but it was really confusing thing to do. And back then we didn't have any modules, and at least not modules like we have now. So there is a solution, and there's called ES6 modules. We will have only one entry.js file, and only all the variables that are defined in there in global scope will be left in global scope. The dependency will be imported by using keyword import. I will show you that in a second. And also there is a caveat that needs a server to work properly. I will show you how to create a local server and how to host your solution on your local server. I'll show you, it's really easy. If you need any help with that, there is actually a really, just let me get it to this. There is a really easy reference if you need anything for this import. You will need to learn a few of those. All ways of writing are not really, they're not real needed. So yeah. But okay, let's go first about ES6 modules, and then we can go about, let me just open Slack so I see you, what are you all doing. If somebody is asking me. Okay, so let's go to our Visual Studio Code. And also, if you haven't downloaded it yet, go to GitHub CroCoder Lockdown Learning, download the repository, and you can see everything updated. There is a new folder called function folder, not function folder, modules folder. And in there are two different folders, ES6 and parcel, and we will be working on them today. So, okay, let's open first ES6. So there is an index HTML, nothing really, like there is a script in there. There's something called base CSS. It's just our base CSS in there, and an empty script. So let's open this. Open container folder. Let's open index HTML. And we have like an empty page in there. So nothing in console. Elements is really simple. It's just an empty body. Oh, okay. There is script inside of those. Okay. So what's the problem? So we had few functions or data in our Pokemon project, like on exercise 2. No, it was the Pokemon project here. We had like two different JS files. Why? Because we had and data, like a JS where all the data is written, and there's like I remember like 1600. Like we can check it in data. There is like, yeah, it's like enormous file with all Pokemon in there. And what we did to solve that problem, to get the Pokemon data and color data to our script.js, we actually just included them sequentially. So we can read in script.js everything that there is in data.js, but not like other way around. So it really, you need to keep them in order like this for this to be working. But this is really bad, because if we forget the data.js import here, it actually just stops working. And it's like a random error, like Pokemon is undefined, and you need to find why is that undefined. Okay, let's try to get like a new script in here. Let it call like utils.js. And let's write in this utils.js a simple function. Let's say function, let's say hello. Remember the say hello from like our first lecture or something like that. And we actually return name, hello, my name is name. Oh, I wrote it wrong. Or if it's like, if our variable is empty, we write that hello world just. Hello world. Yeah, let's do it like this. And if you want to use, now let's open the other script.js. And if we want to use it in here, we just say hello, David, for this example. And after that, what we need to do is open index.html and then just include utils in here. So let me see what we have here. We have an utils.js with say hello function in here. After that, we have script.js where we are calling this function with argument David. And then we have an index HTML, which we need to be wary of if we're including script.js or utils.js first. So it needs to look like this. And that's the same way we did it in Pokemon example. So we can double check this with like console logging this, say hello. Let's see what our script says. Yeah, hello, my name is David. It works perfectly fine. So this was the old way. So okay, let's go back to utils just to show you. You just say hello. If you pass a name, it says hello, my name is something, and if not, it says just hello world. And our script.js, this is like console log, say hello David. So let's go back to our index.js. So if we want to use modules, it's really easy how to do. We find our entry script, and our entry script or like main script is script.js. So we can delete everything else, and we can just say here type equals module. Like module, like that. Let me double check it. Yeah, type module. And if you go back, so you just type module here. I will paste it in chat. And if we double check here, what actually will happen, we'll get an error. And something cross origin error failed. So that's why the little caveat in our here needs a server to work. So what we need to do is actually create a local server, and that's really easy to do if you are using the VS Code. If you're not using VS Code, just let me know and I'll show you the like alternative way. But I think if they're here usual people, let me double check who is online. If that's like usual people, I know that you're using Visual Studio Code. So just yell if you're not using it, so I can double check it. Okay. So I can show you the alternative way of doing this. If you have Visual Studio Code, there is a great extension called, let me get the extension, not live share, but live server. So it's called live server. You can open the icon extension here and just type in here live server, and the first thing will be live server here. So let's try to do this. So open the extension and type in live server. You will have here an install button. Click on install, and I'll show you what you can do with this. This is like the easiest way to create like a local server. So what server actually does is just host your JavaScript files, index HTML, and like your CSS, in the same way as a server that's deployed somewhere. So if you go to, so it hosts the same way like our, how it's called, Lockdown Learning now as SH. So it works in the same way, but only locally on your PC. So if you got this, there is actually, we can like right click on index.html, and here is something like open with live server. There is a new option here if you install it properly. And you click on it. Actually, it will open, look, it says here, server is started at port, and it will actually open in your browser like this. Everything okay? If you have problems with that, I will make a pause in like a half an hour, so you can ping me, so I will help you and show you again how this is done. So if you look at our URL, you will see there are some numbers like 127.0.0.1, so, and then 5500. So this part is actually our host, and this is like our port. You can like swap this, like this number, with localhost. and it works the same. So you can try and go to this page if you run your letter. And if you inspect and go to console, we have some other problems here. Say hello is not defined. Yeah, okay, and favicon, let's ignore that for now. Because we said that our script.js is module, let's go back to here. We said that our script.js is module, but we actually haven't imported the function say hello to our script.js. And let me show you how to do that. So first thing first, we need to say that we are exporting something from utils.js and then importing something to script.js. And it's really easy. You can just say, before the function, just say export function say hello name. It needs to look like this. I paste in the chat. And in our script.js file, we actually need to import that say hello. And this way of importing is called actually named import. I will explain you later why it's named like that. So import brackets say hello from /utils.js. Oops. So actually what this does is saying our code, get me a function, well, export function called say hello from file utils.js. I will paste this in chat so it'll be easier for you. So let me try this. So let me go to our module here and let me close this. And you can see that's working. It's working totally fine. And if we go to our sources, we actually see that we have two files like imported here, like utils.js and script.js. It works perfectly fine. So it's the same way that we have the same result as before, but we don't need to worry about like ordering our imports, or every time we create a new script, like write that in HTML and so on. So this thing can be really bothersome if you have a lot of scripts and you have like interdependency between them. It gets out of hand. Like take me on my word. Like I tried working from 2000. I worked without modules like from 2008 to 2012. It was crazy. Yeah. Okay. So says hello, my name is David. The other thing that our live server does is actually it auto refreshes a page. So you can see that it says here, hello, my name is David. If you change David to John, as soon as we save, it actually refreshes our HTML page. So this is a great thing because we don't need to refresh every time and wait for it. It does actually automatically. So let me show you David. We go back, it says David. Try to write, I don't know, CroCoder. It says CroCoder here. So this is a good thing. So it's automatically synced, and whatever we do, actually, it runs automatically. So that's a great thing because we don't need to like remember to refresh the page and so on and so on. So that's a cool thing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about our exports and how can we export from this file. So let's try, okay, this is a way how to export a function. Let's see how we can export, I don't know, some variables. So when you say like variable, let's say, I don't know, first equals to John and const last is equal to Smith. If you try similar like structure, like exporting here, let's try what it happens here. Yeah. Let's, oh, I forgot to import them here. So let me show you. So here are the first and last. Export const first equals John, export const last equals Smith. And let's try to call them here with console log first last. Yeah, it works perfectly. So it's the same way as we are exporting functions. We are actually exporting constant or variables or let variables. Those are all the variables. The same thing. Okay, how about exporting objects? So the same thing as we had. Just remember to put export on everything that you want to export, and it works fine. If we say like something else, like const value equals 3, and we try to get it from here, so let's get person, and let's try to get value, and let's that paste here. So we console logged everything that we have from there. You will see that actually it says error here. The requested module utils.js does not provide an export named value. So this is a great thing, because if you forgot something to export, or like wrote something wrong or something like that, it actually says the requested module, and it says what module does not have what named export. So this is like a really great thing for working, and it works perfectly, and it works, I think, in every browser that you can use. So if you are writing this in, and if you're opening the HTML page in Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer, no, not Internet Explorer, sorry, Edge, now it's called Edge, you'll get everything the same. It will work totally fine, so you don't have any problem to worry about like inter-browser operability and how everything works from there. So you'll see this is not exported, so we need to delete this value from here for us to get everything to work. Yeah, it works everything fine. So I said this is called the named import, and this like the named export, so it's totally the same. So this way of exporting is called name. There is another way of exporting something, and it's called default export. So the default export is actually when you write something like this, export, and it says an error. You can't write it like this. You can write functions like this, but actually what you need to do is write something like this, default export value. Default export default value. Wrong order. Okay. So you need to write something like this, and this is called default export. Why default export? Because it's not named. So if you go here, we can actually export something called, let's say, def at this moment. And if we try to console log this def here, so it's a little bit different. It's outside the brackets. And what we get here, the def is actually 3. It's the same value as a variable named value. Why? Because this is the way we write our default exports, and you can have only one thing exported defaultly. And it's similar, like it's working similar like arguments and parameters, because it's you can change the names. So you can pass some variable through the argument called ABC, and the parameter can be called in function def. It's the same thing here. So yeah, you can name it, I don't know, number. If you write number and you say here number, it will say that number, value of number is 3. So it's the same thing. There is also another way of importing, and it's actually called like import all. So you need to write import star as utils. And let's try to console log utils. So this way, we actually say import every default or named export from utils.js as a new variable called utils. We can change the name of this variable without any problem. Like we can call it def abc. It works perfectly fine, whatever you say here. And if we refresh this, you will see that there is something called module here. And you will see that we have our named exports here, and we have our default export. And if you go back to, if we try here, write utils, it says it's undefined because it's a module. But if you go back here and say utils.default and utils.person, we actually have everything here. And if you want to try to get our modules, we cannot get the modules from console. So another great thing, because you cannot call this module here, utils, or any like imported stuff from outside the script. So you need to get this in your other script to get all the named exports and your default exports from there. So let me just show you. If you go here and say, let's say food.js, let's make a food, like a food script here. So what we can do here is write something like this. Let's make our, let's say export const favorite equals to pizza, and let's say export function eat food, and let's pass some food, and it just, let's say console logs I'm eating food. If we want to import here anything, we can actually go just to, if we want, we exported something from this food file. And if we want to import that in script.js, we actually just say import, I don't know, favorite and eat food. It was eat food or eat pizza? Eat food. Food from food.js, and we can say favorite, and we can eat food favorite here. So what we did, we actually imported from two different files in there, and it works totally okay. The same thing we can import like utils to the food.js. So we can say here import say hello from /utils.js like this, and let's say console log say hello. It will say some really dumb stuff. Yeah, hello, my name is, I'm eating pizza. Okay. But it works perfectly fine. So you can export from multiple files, import from multiple, you can export to multiple files, import from multiple files, and everything works totally fine. And we don't need to change our HTML at all. So yeah, if you have any questions, just interrupt me and ask me. Let me double check if there is anything here. Okay, it's not. Yeah, this worked perfectly. So let's recap just for a quick recap here. So we need to use export for exporting anything. You just write export before like something here, or export default. Let me just double check if it doesn't work. No, this doesn't work. Exporting default is totally different. Like you need to really like say export default and then variable, a function or something like that. I don't really like exporting default. It's not really useful, so I prefer exporting like named exports. Also, oh, I haven't showed you something. Yeah. So what if we already have here in our file something called favorite? So this is a big problem because we have a favorite here and a favorite here. So this will conflict, but don't worry. We can actually say favorite is favorite food. What this does is actually it takes favorite from our food.js file and it imports it in script.js as variable named favorite food. So if you see here, we can like write favorite and favorite food in here. Favorite food will be pizza and favorite will be number 3. We can double check that. Yeah. Favorite food is pizza and favorite is actually number 3. So with as, you can name that like any way you want, and it changes the name even for named variable, not just for this like star way of importing. Okay. Oh my, again my chat is not working. Yeah, so there were some problems with YouTube today streaming, so that's why. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's go back to this. So I've just shown you that you need to include just only like entry.js file in there. Then dependencies imported by using import. The other thing is like you need to say what variables, what functions are exported. You can everything you can find on MDN. So try to look in there if you have like any quandaries about this, or just ask me. And also we start the server for everything to work. And if you haven't seen it, it's the live server here, and works pretty nice. I'm not really using that while working, but for these examples works totally okay. So okay, let's then talk about bundlers. So the problem here that we also have when we open our ES6 module index page, and let's open not network but sources, we actually see we have multiple JS files in here. So the problem here is that first our scripts here are unnecessarily like large. We can actually like remove like all enters here, then remove all spaces and so on, and then we will actually get a smaller script in there. That's the first thing. The other thing is that we can have like 100 different JS files in here, and actually it takes like an overhead for each JavaScript file to get downloaded, because this is like few kilobytes, and you need to have like not 100 kilobytes, like a 50 kilobytes overhead for every file in there. And if you have 80 files in there, we can get like a megabyte more like downloads from here, and it's just sucky totally to do that. And yeah, that's really bad. So how we can like create like take all these different scripts that we have in here and transform them into one index.js file, and ignore like this browser getting all different files and just serving one file for our production. And also there are some nice things about the development environment. So let us go back to our bundlers. So what are the bundlers? Bundlers actually take different resources that we are serving from a server or locally on our local server and bundles them. That's why they're called bundlers. And we actually get, like, if you have multiple CSS files, we get one CSS file. If you have multiple JS files, we get one JS file. If you have like multiple different images, we actually Actually, some bundlers do crazy things with them, image optimization and so on. They're actually pretty neat. So there are two big bundlers for front end, and they're called Webpack and Parcel. We will do Parcel today. Parcel is great because it requires about 0 configurations to start to so you can start using it. And Webpack is really configuration heavy, and there is multiple files that you need to write so everything works properly. Webpack is more for the bigger projects, and Parcel is great for this kind of showcase websites like our Pokemon project that we did last Saturday. So let me Google that. Let me Google Webpack. You can see here is the Webpack. Let's go to our top. So here is the Webpack. I'm pasting it. And here is the Parcel.js. So here we go. So let's read a little bit about Webpack and Parcel so we can get acquainted with that. And so you remember that this icon means Webpack and this means Parcel. Okay, so what Webpack does? Actually, it just gets all your dependencies, like different modules. So it gets all your CSS, images, JS files, and so on, and it transforms them into like lightweight readables like JS, CSS, different images, and so on. So it actually bundles everything. And if you go to documentation, you'll see what's the problem with that. It's incredibly configurable. Yeah, that's true. But the problem with configuration is just giant for it to work properly. And you'll see if you open a bigger projects and so on, like Webpack files can be like, there could be like 10 Webpack different configuration files, and there's like 100 to 100 lines in each of those, and it's just not really usable when you're doing a small project or and so on or similar thing. So the better option for smaller project is actually Parcel, and what Parcel does is same thing, but it's like it's smaller. It's just it does some things great, and it's not really you can really configure it to do other things, and it's like we can like try here. You just need to install it, say what's your entry script, and it works the same way as it works our first example, the ES6 modules. Why do you want to use like Parcel and not like ES6 modules? It's just production thing. So it's not really different from using like ES6 modules plus live server. Parcel is a similar thing to that. The only difference is the production files. They're more optimized, and we will use Parcel in our Saturday project, and you'll see why while we work on that project. You'll see exactly why we're using that. So let's try to do something with this. So we have the index.html, utils and food in our ES6 here, and what we actually can do is actually just copy paste everything from here to our Parcel folder. So let me just just beware, because if you have index.html or script copy or something like that, actually it will create new files with copy in their names. So there is another file in here called .gitignore in Parcel. Just ignore it for now, and we have a Git lecture, so we can ignore that. So what you need to do for setting this up is actually go to the Parcel. Oh, I can like show you first. So what we need to do is actually use npm. So npm is actually Node Package Manager. I showed you in the first lecture how to use Node, that you can use it from your terminal. And Node is used for running JavaScript without your browser on your local PC. So actually what we need to do is init the npm and then do some stuff with here. So let me try first init. The easiest way for you, if you're on Windows, is actually like right click on parcel and click open in terminal. And what will this do is actually open your terminal inside your VS Code. So right click on your parcel folder and just open in terminal here. So in here, what we actually can say is npm init first. So it says some stuff here. This utility will walk you through creating a package JSON file. It will only cover the most common items and tries to guess sensible default and so on and so on. What this npm init will create a package JSON file and a package JSON log file. Package JSON is actually a description of our project, and it's used by npm, so you know what your dependencies that you can download from somewhere, and like what's your name of the project, what's your maintainer email if somebody needs to contact you, and so on. So we can say package name is parcel. If you press enter, it just autocompletes. Version is 1. Okay, this is a description. This is an example. Entry point is actually script.js. Test command, we can leave that empty. Git repository, we can leave this empty. Keyboard also. Author, yeah, we can leave the server empty. And we can say yes for this to be created. Okay, so to get our package bundle, so let me give you this. It's npm init. So to get the parcel bundler to start working, we actually need to install with npm and the flag save dev. I will explain you in a moment what this does. Parcel bundler. So we need to call this. Let me copy and paste you in chat. And we will press enter, and it will take some time to download our package. What this actually does is actually it goes to a website called npm. So let me show you. There is an npm. So npmjs.com. It goes to this website, searches automatically for parcel bundler, for a module called parcel bundler, and it's right here. It's a bit slower website. Okay, it's here. And actually what this is actually a production repository for parcel bundler module. So what you can do is actually push your modules to this website, npm.js, and it's totally free. And everybody can download it from this website, your modules that you finish. We will do this like in future, but just so you know, it downloads the parcel bundler from this website locally on our PC. If we see in your parcel folder, there's something called node modules. This is actually all the modules that you need for parcel to work on locally. Download here. And in package JSON, actually there is something written in dev dependency, parcel bundler with some version in there. So difference, so if you remember, we put a flag. Oh, okay. We put a flag, let me see, the save dev flag here. Why? Because it will save in dev dependency and not dependencies. So dependencies are something that your code cannot run without, and dev dependencies actually, it just needs on your local PC to start everything, and that is parcel bundler here. And the other thing that we need to do is actually write here a script called start. We can delete the test script, And here we can say just parcel index HTML. So your package needs to have the script like this. So this what we're looking is actually JSON. So JSON is similar to our like just objects in JavaScript. The only big difference in there is that you need to have the double quotes on each variable name or property name in objects. So there is a little bit of difference in there. But it's actually JSON, and if you paste this in JavaScript, it will work as an object without any problem. So what this does is actually it creates a new script called start. And when we call start, we will actually call parcel index HTML. And what this does is actually hosts a new server with index.html as its main page, and it actually imports everything into one file. So let's try this. Let's open, like, right click, open in terminal on our parcel folder, and let's write down npm run start. So you will need this. Now let's press enter. And what it says is actually that parcel is started with command parcel index.html. You can see it like here. Server is running at localhost with port 1234. And it's actually, everything is built under a second. So we can control and click this. So let me go to this browser, and we can actually see that this is the same thing as our first. Let me double check. Yeah, it's totally the same. So you can see here in our URL, first one is localhost modules and so on, localhost 5500, and this is localhost 124. So we have two different servers on our computer. One is running on port 5500 and one is running on 1234, and they are working the same. But if we open sources, we'll see that our food.js, script.js, and utils.js are here, but they are in italic font. Because they're not really here, they're just decoded from our script.js, as you can see here, and from our base.js. So what this does actually, it runs parcel locally on our server, and it does all the magic that we've seen, like bundling and so on, and it works perfectly fine. You can see that this is just a bigger file than we had before. That's why, because there are some dependencies and like automatically opening and automatically refreshing our page. It works the same as the live server that we have installed locally on our PC. Like an extension in Visual Studio, but it's actually installed on your PC. So, okay, that works totally the same. So if we open our parcel here, a parcel folder, we will see that we have something called dist in here. And dist is actually the distribution files. So this is actually our build. So you can see here, this is actually our built version of our HTML through parcel. So you can see there import like script something JS and base.js, and there is some CSS here. It's actually just built in some way that it works out of the box. You can see if you look here, there's some called named import here. It's similar thing that we had in our food.js or utils.js, but it's actually changed in a way. We really won't go deeper in this. This is just, let's say it works perfectly, so we don't need to look in here what's happening here and so on. There's some like error things and so on, but this is more about that's a bit more like computer science thing that I want to like avoid talking about on at least during live streams. If you want to build the script like these are our index HTML, so we can deploy it on production, we can actually call here build, and we can create a new script called build and just call parser build index HTML. So your package.js scripts should look like this. And if you open our terminal from our folder parcel and run npm run build, what we actually create, we'll create a new dist files in here, and they're actually, let me double check this. Are they minimized, or I need to close? Let me just double check this. Let me rerun this. Okay. So let me see. They're actually prepared for production. Let me double check this. Yeah. So our index.html is now in one line, and the files, yeah. So they're prepared for production, and they're minimized as much as is possible. So if we compare this file that's prepared for production, it's actually 2.2 kilobytes. And if we compare to this one, this is actually 1.5. I'm gonna look at this. No, this file, sorry. This is like 11.3. So it's like 5 times smaller than our script from before. It's just prepared for be deployed. And we can like delete this and try to run it again. Not this way, but this way with opening terminal. We can actually npm run build. Then we get this folder here. And if we try to open this, like we can try open the live server, we'll get something. No, okay, sorry. We can host this on our server without any problem. There will be some problems with live server because we already have it opened. Long story, but actually all this file, what you can do is just copy them and throw them on some server, and it will work totally fine. It will be minimized and ready for production. So why will we do using Parcel? Because Parcel does everything and more than ES6 modules do, and we can use them with some auto reloading. If we change, I don't know, if we run npm run start and we change our favorite to burgers, or if we change here in not utils, in person name to John and save, actually what it does, it changes automatically on our website. So you can see here the name is John and my name is I'm eating burgers, and so on and so on. So it's great way for automatically debugging stuff, seeing every time something changes. You can see if you change something in your file, you can see automatically updated on your website, and so on and so on. So it's just a tool so you can work in the development environment without any problem. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to ask me. So as nobody interrupted me, I just continued to ramble along, and I'm not even sure if you are listening to me. So this thing, I would really advise you to check this out and how it works and try for yourself. You can even include this in Pokemon project, so you can try changing the Pokemon project. Let me see if you are playbacking. Yeah, you are playbacking. I was pretty fast in explaining this. But if you have any questions, you can ask me away about this. Playbacks, yeah. Okay. So the thing that if you have worked on your Pokemon project, what you can actually do is create this data to earn export to export. So data, you can just export colors and Pokemon in there and import them in script.js and use them really easy. That's one of the things that we'll be doing on this Saturday. So creating export things and creating multiple files for each feature that we've done and also tomorrow today is Tuesday, so on Thursday I'm totally confused about days. So as I'm not living in a house, I don't know if it's Tuesday or Thursday. I just know that I have a lecture today. So on Thursday we will be talking about asynchronous stuff in JavaScript. At this moment we were writing our code like sequentially, like line after line, expecting that goes through whole our code, and we were doing something little asynchronously, like on key up, but that's more like input from our user, like if something press key up or does something, then something does there. But we can do stuff asynchronously, like run my JavaScript file, and when there is a need, import the Pokemon data inside of it. Until there is no need to import Pokemon data, just don't import it. So that's a good thing if you're at least in our case, because our Pokemon data is huge, and if you want like really fast pages, we need to play around asynchronously getting our Pokemon data. So there is a way of importing things like asynchronously, and there is also a way of getting our data from a server. So there can be some server that hosts our Pokemon data, and we can get data. We can get the data really easily asynchronously. So that's a thing that we'll do on Thursday, and then on Saturday we will create our Pokemon project like fully fledged, like a real web app. And after that, I would probably need your input on what other things you want to do, or what do you want to do more exercises like programming with me, like me showing you how to do live program, like how to program live, or you need more lectures, or do you need like React or backend programming or something like that. So all to this point, all I've done is only front-end programming. The same things can be used on backend, like the same syntax, everything can be used on backend, but there are some different modules that you can be used out of the box. So for example, document is not available on the backend because document is really browser dependent. I will create a poll inside of Slack, so you can like vote on everything that you want in the future lectures to be. Yeah, so if there are any questions or anything like that, just ask me, or ask me in Slack later. I'll hang out for a few minutes more. So let me just see if there is some. No, this is the last one. So here is everything that you need to add for it to run, and these are our bundlers. Yeah. So this was a little shorter. I thought there will be more questions because this is quite confusing for people that are just starting. So let me explain again. The way for you to import and export is actually with two keywords, export and import. So you can export any variable with like this, like export const person. This is called like named exports, and this way export default something. They're called default exports. Okay. Then importing, you just need to write import and then say in brackets all your named imports, or you need to write, if you have default imports, you write here something, and that will become the new variable that you can access your default default imports from the. And you can also do star and get everything that you need from your for all the named and default exports like this. So yeah, so more exercises. Okay, okay, I'll have that in my mind. So more live coding and so on, and then more tasks for you to finish. Okay. So my advice is for you is to try to write something on your own, like try to imagine something and try to solve that. If you have any if you try to do that and you have any questions, you can ask me. I am totally okay for you to ping me anytime, and I will try to help you. Yeah. So also try to try to exercise your for, map, and reduce. That's quite important because everything like starts on that three things, like for loops, map, and reduce. Yeah. So if there are no more questions, thank you for your inputs, Daniel and Toril. If there are no more questions or suggestions or anything like that, I'll be signing off. And I would really like to see your Pokemon projects, if that's possible, because that's a great start for the future projects, like the Saturday project, and in the future the exercises, so I can know at least for the regulars here, so I'll know on what level are you and on what department you still have some problems, and try to assist you with that. So if there are no questions, I'm logging off, and we'll see you on Thursday, because today is Tuesday. See ya, guys.